Hello, today we're going to do a quick look at the Pico QX from Horizon Hobby and see how it compares to the SD's Proto X Nano, or I guess it's not called the Nano, just the SD's Proto X. They are both pretty small. I've got them both charging up here, and actually both the red lights went off just a few minutes ago, so I believe they're both fully charged. You can see that the Pico QX is a little bit bigger than the Proto X. It also has these blade guards, which are really nice, especially if you're learning how to fly. They'll protect from the ceiling. They'll also protect from the walls, and protect it from falls. The Proto X, I've had this one for a couple of years now, and it flies great. I will say the props fall off pretty easily, but I've got quite a few extras, and I also find that you can put them back on very easily. Just make sure you put them on in the right spot. So on the left is the Proto X controller that comes with it. You can see it's pretty small. It's got two controls and some trims. On the right is the Pico QX controller that comes with it. Also pretty small, though a little bit bigger. I know the SD's, the Proto X uses AAA batteries, and the Pico QX has a rechargeable battery inside of it, which is nice, but also means that if your battery dies, you have to recharge it before you can use it. There's the port that it plugs into. It's got a decent size control surface for someone with big hands like me. But I've gotten pretty used to flying with this little guy here too, so neither of them really bother me that much. The trims obviously are not super precise, but good enough to get it to where you can hover it in one place. The other big thing that I think is an advantage for the Proto X is that the Proto X actually can fly with this controller, which comes with the Hubsan. This controller obviously is a lot more smooth. It gives you a lot more play, and it binds to the Proto X quite nicely and allows you to fly it. One thing I was hoping with the Pico QX was that it would actually bind with the Spectrum radio that I have. I have a Spectrum 6-channel, and I was hoping I could fly this with that because I thought it would have been a very nice flying experience. However, it does not bind with it. You are limited to this controller, at least as far as I know. If you know differently, please comment and let me know. Okay, we're going to start here with the Pico QX. They both have a little tiny on-off switch on the bottom. Obviously you want to flip it on, set it down on a flat surface, and let it calibrate all the gyros and everything. And I've got my let's make sure we got power. There we go. I've got my phone sitting here with the stopwatch, so I'm going to go ahead and start that and take off. Now, just a few observations. First of all, it's flying quite smoothly. Let's see if I can trim it out a little bit. Seems to be drifting right. There's no wind in here because we're inside. The front has blue lights, the rear has red, and then there's a green light that just kind of blinks continuously. You can flip, I believe if you hit the left stick twice, it'll flip twice. Whoa, yeah, you need some altitude if you do that, but there you go. It's hovering around. It's been a minute and a half so far, and we're going to just keep flying and see how long it stays in the air, just to do a little battery comparison. Very responsive. As I said before, the prop guards are nice because you can bump into things and it will not crash when you bump into things. Looks like one of my little prop guards is bent a bit, although it seems to be okay. And I've got it trimmed out pretty good right now. You can see it's just holding fairly well. It's going forward a little bit, so let me bring it back. And it's going left a little bit, so let me see if I can trim it to the right. Full power. Doesn't go up that quickly, actually. Let me see if changing modes adjusts the power. Not so much. Does do a nice pirouette, nice spinning around with the yaw. Fun to fly. Definitely a little sluggish again on the power when you give it gas. I'm right there, and I'm going to give it full gas. And it takes it a second to start to climb. So if you are coming down fast, you're probably going to hit the ground before you recover. So give yourself plenty of altitude on the flips. Let's do one more flip. You can see even that at about 6 feet in the air, it dropped to the ground. Let's try it at about 8 feet. Yep, close to hitting the ground. So you need about 8-10 feet of height to do a flip without coming down. Okay, the backlights are starting to blink. I'm wondering if that means we're gonna drop the battery here. Yes, it is what it means. Let me see if I can even, that was at about 4 minutes exactly. There's my timer, 4:07, you can see. Go ahead and stop that. And the battery started to blink probably at about 3:45, and then about 15 seconds later, boom, we were on the ground. So 4 minutes of flight time for the Pico QX. Now let's see how the Proto X does. Okay, we've got our Proto X here. I'm going to fly it with the Hubsan X4 controller just because it'll work, but you could do the same thing with the Proto X controller. I know you can adjust the rates on this as well, which makes it a little more fun to fly. Got my timer, so I'm going to see how it compares to the Pico. So let's go. First we'll turn on the Proto X, set it down, let it calibrate with the gyros and such. Turn on the control. Looks like we're good to go. Start the timer. Now it's drifting pretty hard to the right, so I'm going to adjust that, bring it on back. It's also drifting forward a little bit, so I'm going to adjust that. Here we go. And it's telling me the battery's dying already. So let's see. Is that really what's going on, or is it... Now you can't adjust the rates on this guy by pushing the right stick in. It's pretty aggressive rates, as you can see. Or you can go back to less aggressive rates. Right there. This guy actually has a lot more power than the Pico. You hit the engine, hit full throttle, and it just goes. Whereas the Pico takes a few seconds to respond. Give you an example here. Take it up to about good height. There's full throttle. Boom, up it went. I'm trying to figure out why the lights have been blinking for so long, because normally when the lights start blinking, that means the battery's almost dead, but it's stayed in the air for quite a while since the lights started blinking. We're at 2.5 minutes of flight time so far. I'm wondering if that has to do with my rate adjustment on the control. Nice pirouettes. Add a little stick to it to make it interesting. And now the battery seems to be going. 3 minutes and 42 seconds of flight time. Just to kind of summarize, the Pico QX is a lot of fun to fly. It's a little less powerful than the Proto X, but the prop guards definitely help, and the ability to flip easily with the push of the button, or double flip with 2 pushes of the button, really is cool. Flight times for me were about the same, right around 4 minutes each. My Proto X is about a year, maybe a year and a half old, and so it actually is, perhaps the battery is degraded over time, I don't know, but I do try to keep it charged all the time. And then finally on price, the Proto X just dropped to 29 bucks, and I believe the Pico X is 59, so you're going to pay a bit more for the Pico X, and you can't fly the Pico X with the Spectrum controller as I hoped, but you can fly the Proto X with this Hubsan X4 controller, which is pretty cool. gives you a little bit more versatility. I've actually got a case here with my Hubsan 2 Proto X's, all my gear, and then the controller goes there. It's kind of a fun little case to take with me for indoor flight. So overall, I don't think you can go wrong with either of these guys, but honestly, I think the Proto X edges out for me a little bit because of its ability to fly with a bigger controller, and also it has more power, and the price you just can't beat. You can own several of them, as I do. Hope you enjoyed watching this review, and we'll see you next time.